Welcome to Creative Thinking with Kim Thomas, a podcast from the Village Chapel in Nashville, Tennessee. Together we'll explore where faith and art meet and how creativity can draw us closer to the heart of God. Our hope is to inspire, inform, and encourage creative thinking from a biblical perspective. For show notes, resources, or to learn more about our ministry, visit thevillagechapel.com. Now, here's Kim.
Over the past weeks, we've practiced ceasing from what exhausts us. Stress and hurry, fear and the need to know, and feasting on what restores us. Today we return once more to the practice of ceasing, and what we are gently laying down is anxiety. Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. Corrie ten Boom. Every tomorrow has two handles. We can take hold of it with the handle of anxiety or the handle of faith. Henry Ward Beecher. Jim was going out of town for 3 days. I wondered how my mother had managed all those years when my father was stationed at sea for months at a time. Jim and I had rarely had a night apart, and I wasn't accustomed to being home alone. I was grateful at the time for the 2 schnauzers who would keep me company, though they were hardly trained guard dogs. I planned carefully. Dinner with a friend so I wouldn't return home alone after dark, projects to occupy my evenings, sewing a skirt, organizing taxes, even a surprise errand to install a new stereo in Jim's car. The first night, I came home safely, worked late, and finally went upstairs to sleep. I knew the hardest moment would be when the lights went out and the house went quiet, so I prepared. I set the house alarm and closed every door along the long hallway, reasoned that anyone approaching me would have to make noise. I shut my bedroom door and wedged a chair under the doorknob. Forgetting that the door opened outward, I placed shoes by the bed, a flashlight under it, an empty pillowcase nearby for evacuating the dogs, and inspired by questionable logic and too many movies, I placed a can of hairspray and a lighter on the nightstand, a makeshift torch. After all of that, I laid my head down between 2 dogs and fell fast asleep. I slept 8 solid hours. In the morning, as I reversed my elaborate security measures, I felt quietly proud until I opened the front door. My keys were hanging in the outside lock. In a single moment, all of my careful planning collapsed, and I pictured God smiling, saying gently, "I will take care of you." All of my efforts had been undone by something so small, and yet I had been kept safe. That's anxiety. Anxiety convinces us that vigilance equals control, that preparation equals protection. But the truth is, the keys are often hanging right outside our hearts, and yet still God guards us. There are many forms of anxiety. Some are acute and specific, and they require professional care. But the anxiety I want to name here is more familiar and more subtle. The general anxiety of the future. The tyranny of the what-ifs. What if something goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I'm misunderstood? And what if I lose what I love? When we live inside the what-ifs, imagination outruns reason, and anxiety steals our rest. There's a kind of worry that serves us, the attentiveness that helps us plan and prepare, but when worry becomes fixation, it turns toxic. A Swedish proverb says, "Worry gives a small thing a big shadow." Anxiety narrows our vision. 500 affirming faces fade behind one disapproving glance. One imagined failure eclipses 1,000 graces. We give our energy to the shadows instead of the light. At its root, anxiety is often a desire to be in control. We want to control our health, our children, our parents, our safety, our reputation, our future, and the painful truth. The truth that can free us is that we never had that control even to begin with. Jesus speaks directly to this in the Sermon on the Mount. Don't worry about your life, he says. He points to the birds and the flowers, those that are fed and clothed, and he gently asks, what worrying has ever added to our days? The word he uses, mirim now, describes a troubled preoccupation with the future. Worry promises safety, but it delivers exhaustion. Sabbath rest invites us to cease from anxiety, not because the world is safe, but because God is faithful. Even when we've done all we can do, it's still God who guards us. Our plans are limited. His care is not. The keys are always hanging somewhere they shouldn't be, and still, his hand holds us. As we enter Holy Week, we do not rush toward answers. Today may you lay down what you cannot carry and remain where Christ is near, who has invited us to come to him for Sabbath rest.
We're so glad you joined us for Creative Thinking with Kim Thomas. If today's episode encouraged or inspired you, share it with friends or family, and be sure to subscribe and leave a review. To explore more resources or to support our ministry, visit thevillagechapel.com.